And interestingly enough, the Times do have a profile on Rishi and his wife. You have to see the UK's rich list for 2022 published by the Sunday Times recently. And I realise that we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis right now, so it's not necessarily the most tasteful kind of content that I could put out there, but I do find this really, really interesting, particularly when you start looking at the numbers that these people have amassed in their net worth and how they've actually done it across different sectors and industries. And I will be looking at one of our favourite politicians as well, in Rishi Sunak, to see how he's come out in this rich list for the UK as well. Let's get going. Now, this is the rich list right here, and I'm going to be focusing on the top 10 families to start off with. But what stands out to me is just the sheer size of the net worth that these families, these individuals, these groups have amassed within their career, within their lifetime. Now, look, let's be honest, whenever you see net worths like this, that doesn't necessarily mean that they've got, you know, in the instance of the richest person on this list, 28.472 billion pounds in the bank account. That's not how it works. That will be a combination of investment companies, it will be a combination of assets that they essentially own. Yes, they will have cash, but they're not going to have 28 billion quid sat in cash right here and there. So I don't recognize this family. We'll have a look at them in a moment. They're in industry and finance. I do, however, recognize David and Simon Rubin, and I also recognize the Mattel family and Michael Platt. He's a hedge fund manager, essentially. So I do want to have a look at maybe a couple of these families just to see how they've made their fortune and maybe get a little bit of an insight into them as well, because this does a really good job at kind of giving you a profile on them, essentially. So let's have a look at this top one, because I don't know whether you've already spotted this or not, but look at this top line, okay? Net worth, 28.472 billion pounds. Increase, I'm assuming this is going to be in the last year, 11.472 billion pounds.
Holy shitballs, Mom!
Now, if you watch the channel, I've had Gary Stevens on here and he talks about how we should be taxing the wealthy and how the wealthy have got even wealthier during the course of the pandemic and lockdown, so on and so forth. I'm interested to see in their profile whether this is indeed an increase in the last 12 months. Because if it is, they've made a lot of cash. And I would love to know how they've made it, in what industry, what their investments are, what their companies are, so on and so forth. In fact, let's have a look at them right now. Go into their profile. So what does it say here? Net worth, so actually they were second in the rich list in 2021. So they've climbed up to first place now because of that 11.4 billion pound increase in their net worth in 2021 alone. It says here, the Sunday Times Rich List for the fourth time with the biggest fortune recorded in the list's 34 history. They're London-based, leading the families charging to electric vehicles. Interesting. They're quite old though, 86 and 82. He's got a son at age 50, oversees Leeds-based Switch Mobility, which is developing a new generation of zero-emission buses, vans and trucks. Some £300 million is being channeled into the startup, which plans to create 4,000 jobs in the UK and India. So this is really interesting because it gives you an idea of what their business ventures are. These guys are in EV, renewable energy, that transition from fossil fuels into electric, essentially. So, I mean, look, if you're looking to invest, this might be a really good port of a research for a company that you might want to put some money into. Again, that's not financial advice, but I would definitely go and be looking at what this company actually does and see what their traction has been, their history has been, so on and so forth. Because if these guys are making money, you might be able to make money with them as well. Let's go back a little bit because I'm interested to see David and Simon Rubin. Now, I do want to talk about these guys because I am pretty sure, let's click onto their profile. I'm pretty sure that they had something to do with Newcastle. Net worth, 22.26 billion quid. Now it says here actually, the Indian-born Rubin brothers last year teamed up with Saudi investors and British financier Amanda Staveley to buy Newcastle United for Mike Ashley. So any Newcastle supporters, this is where the money came from. Those are the guys in the consortium that bought Newcastle. And I follow football. Great end to the season last year. Good start to the season this year. you guys are promising to really, really challenge. These are the guys that essentially put money into the club. Really, really interesting. Now, I did have a look at these guys because they have been in the rich list for a number of times now. And I'm just going to share this with you as well because remember, so David and Simon Rubin. So this is back in 2010. So this is the rich list in 2010. They were number 5, right? But look at this. Their net worth at that point was only 5.53 billion quid. Let's go back. Let's just go back quickly. 22.26, so 20, almost $23 billion. So within the space of what, 12 years, they've managed to increase their net worth by 17 billion. It is absolutely insane. And if you look at their number from 2009, so the year before, they were ranked 9th. They went up 4 places. They were only worth 2.5 billion. I say only, right? It's crazy. Only worth 2.5 billion in 2009. Absolutely crazy. Now, I do want to have a look at a person of interest because let's face it, Rishi's got a little bit of stick. He's got a lot of stick, him and his wife actually. The bad press, and I spoke about the fact that, you know, what she did was technically legal with HMRC paying a fee. But look at that net worth, 730 million quid. And so many people will ask, well, how is it that someone that wealthy can relate to the general public? I don't know. That's for you to answer. And interestingly, they are new entrants to this list this year. They entered at 222. It's crazy to me that you have to get to 222 and you're still worth 730 million quid. That tells you that there are some big, big ballers out there. And just for the record, look, we're in a capitalist society. I do not begrudge anyone who has built a business over the course of a career and are worth this level of money. I can't begrudge that because it takes a lot of hard work, determination, sacrifices. It really, really does take a toll and courage to be able to build this kind of stuff. Is that to say that they do everything right 100% of the time? I would suspect not. There's lots of stories about Amazon and Jeff Bezos being really, really cutthroat. Yes, it doesn't mean that they're doing everything right 100% of the time, but I don't envy them because you've got to have balls to do this kind of stuff. But with that being said, it does kind of ask the question, right? If a family who's number 1 this year can make $11 billion between 2021 and 2022, you start to ask real questions about how is that possible and are they paying the tax on their assets or their income, their earnings, so on and so forth. And it's not a straightforward answer to that because a lot of it will be in assets, a lot of it will be in businesses. The taxation question is a really, really harsh one. But anyway, I'd love to know what you think. 11 billion quid between 2021 and 2022. Is that not nuts? It's nuts. It just does not compute for me. Applaud them 100%, but it's crazy. What would you do if you had this kind of money? What would you do? I'd love to know.